Now this video is going to be a little different. It's going to be an unabashed promotion of our training school. And I know most of you that subscribe to this channel probably don't live anywhere near Florida, but I hope this will give you some ideas on what you should look for in a training school, the kind of instructors you need, kind of drones you need to fly, to help you make your best decision on how to start your business. So stick around, I'll give you my thoughts on that. So we decided to pull together a comparison of the stable of drones available for our students to pilot in our 2-day flight in part 1 of 107 test prep course. These are hands-on courses, so of course you have the opportunity to experience these UAVs personally. Our instructors are full-time, and as far as safety, we feel our instructor pilots must have extensive knowledge and skills to provide what we are founded on as our business model. We don't believe in an instructor and their drone in a box teaching. This remains a dangerous endeavor, whether it's for hobbyists or professional pilots. We want this comparison to break down the most important features for UAV specs. Specs will aid you in your decision whether you're buying or adding a UAV for individual needs and corporate demands for data. So here's our fleet, or like my wife likes to call it, our squadron of drones. And this is what we bring to every class. You know, unlike a lot of other training organizations out there who make you fly whatever the instructor happens to bring along with him, we give you a choice. I mean, where else can you come to a school and get to see this many different kinds of drones, touch them, feel them, and experience flying them? And we think that's a real important part of our business. In fact, over time, we continue to add drones that we think are more and more appropriate for our class. So just to give you an idea of what we have. We start off our training with the Mini SE. Now this is a light, friendly drone, and it gets you started in learning some basic skills on how to fly your drone. And look at the specs on this thing. It's very light, 249 grams, which puts it below the registration requirements of the FAA. It's got a 30-minute flight time, 29 mile an hour top speed, wind resistance of 23.5 miles an hour. Doesn't have any obstacle avoidance. It does have down sensors that helps you know how to land it, but actually no obstacle avoidance. It's got a small camera sensor, a 1/2.3, shoots 12 megapixel photos. It's got a 24 millimeter lens with a fixed aperture of 2.8, and then maximum video resolution of 2.7K. Distance-wise, they say it can fly up to 2.5 miles, but this is an enhanced Wi-Fi system, so you may not get that much. And then as far as the app goes, it uses the DJI Fly app. And after our students have experienced that one for a while, we move up to the Air 2S. Now, a little heavier, a little more polished, a little more options on it. This one weighs 595 grams, 31-minute flight time. It's got a max speed of 42.5 miles an hour, so it is faster. Maximum wind resistance, still about the same at 23.5. Now this one does have 4-way obstacle avoidance. It's got front, back, top, and bottom, so that is a help. Concerning the camera, this one has a 1-inch sensor, so that's a big deal. Shoots 20 megapixel pictures, has a 22 millimeter lens, has a fixed aperture of 2.8. And by fixed, I mean you cannot adjust that aperture during flight. Maximum video resolution is 5.4K. And the one thing I like about this one is it has a digital zoom on it. Doesn't help you in filming, but it helps you explore. If you're up flying around and see something you're interested in, do this 8x zoom, see if you like it, fly over to it, and then film at your regular resolution. Transmission distance, well, they say this is OcuSync 3 at 7.5 miles. And they use the DJI Fly app. Next, of course, my favorite is the Mavic 2 Pro. Been out for a while, but still a solid drone. Weighs 907 grams. Again, 31-minute flight time. 44.7 mile an hour top speed. Maximum wind resistance, still in that 23 mile an hour range. But this one has 5-way obstacle avoidance. Not only does it have front, back, top and bottom, but it also has side vision. It also has a 1-inch sensor with a 20 megapixel photo rate. The lens is a 28 millimeter, but this one has a variable aperture from 2.8 to 11. And that's good in terms of filming outside in bright sunlight. That can help you. Maximum 4K resolution, maximum flight distance of 6.2 miles, and it uses the older OcuSync 2. But this one uses the DJI Go 4 app, which I much prefer to the Fly app. Now, we also have the Inspire 2. Now, while this is pretty much dedicated to serious cinema kind of work, let me talk through the specs on this one. Very heavy, 3,440 grams, about 7.5 pounds. Only a 27-minute flight time, even though it's got 2 batteries. But it's got a much higher top speed of 58 miles an hour. And surprisingly, max wind resistance is about the same at around 22.3 miles an hour. This one has 3-way obstacle avoidance, front, back, and top. As far as the camera goes, got a micro four thirds sensor, which is much better. Megapixels of 20, almost 21 megapixels for the camera, but it's got an aperture of 1.7, so it's much better in low light conditions. And it's got a variable aperture of between 1.7 and 16. Huge benefit on that. Video resolution up to 5.2K, range about 4.3 miles. Uses the older light bridge transmission capabilities, but it's still adequate. And it also uses the Go 4 app. Then, of course, one of our older drones is our Phantom 3 Standard. In fact, this is the one we started the program with. Older technology, still a good drone. Let me tell you how it compares to the rest. It's heavier, 1,216 grams, 25 minutes of flight time, 36 mile an hour top speed. They don't state a wind resistance on this one. No obstacle avoidance. Camera's got a 1/2.3 lens, 12 megapixel photos, 20 millimeter lens, f2.8, maximum of 2.7K in video resolution. It can only fly 0.6 miles, and that's because of the Wi-Fi transmission in that one. And it uses the older DJI Go app. Now, moving away from the DJI products, we also have the Skydio 2. This is a wonderful little drone, totally autonomous, follow you absolutely anywhere. So what are the specs on that? Flight time is not that great, 23 minutes. Max speed, 36 miles an hour. Max wind resistance, they're all in the same ballpark. This one's at 25. But obstacle sensors, consider this omnidirectional. It builds a 3D model of the world around it. It looks for obstacles that way. Camera sensor is a little small, a 1/2.3. Megapixels, slightly over 12. The aperture is a 1.8, so it's good in low light conditions. Video resolution of 4K and transmission distance of about 2 miles. And of course, they've got their own proprietary app on that one. And then we have the strange little Parrot Anafi thermal. Now, its claim to fame, of course, is having the built-in FLIR thermal camera, allowing you to do thermal imaging. Let's look at the specs on it. It's fairly light at 315 grams, flight time of 26 minutes, max speed of 34 miles an hour. Wind resistance is actually higher than the rest at 31 miles an hour. There is no obstacle avoidance on it. Sensor side is 1/2.4, megapixels 21. The lens is a 26 millimeter and an f2.4, and it can shoot in 4K, but it also has that FLIR thermal camera. Total distance is about, range distance is about 1.5 miles, and it uses its proprietary software. So that's our fleet, or as my wife says, our squadron. A lot of drones to choose from. Where else can you find this many drones to actually practice with in the field, hands-on, and get a feel for? And we feel real strong that that's what we bring to the table there. So if you're near us in Florida, please consider signing up for a course. If you're not, give me your comments. Let me know what you think about our training. see if things are done differently in your part of the world. We'd like to hear from you. And thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. And if you feel like sharing it with your friends, please do so. That would be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you so much for watching.